Hi guys, Acesup here, and I have just loaded up PokerStars and thought I'd just, from the get-go today, just sort of start off with a bit of a recording because I've been jumping in a bit late lately through the session. So I just had some food, apple and some shumai, which is these dumpling things, and actually I'm feeling a bit queasy. So I was already feeling queasy though. The last couple of days, for some reason, I've had a bit of a stomach bug or something. But I feel like I can still focus on the games, so it's not going to stop me from playing. I mean, it's not that bad. So I'm just looking through here, trying to work out what to play. It's really cold in here, actually. I might even have to put the beanie on. I think it's actually, I've got the heaters on, but it's just freezing outside, literally. So let's just go through here and see what we can find that's good. So this big 75 is already been running 1 hour and 40 minutes, so I don't want to start with that. I'm probably going to start down here. This has been running 40 minutes. So this is the lobby, obviously full lobby, but what I normally do is I have everything marked, so it's in my favorites. And so what I'm going to do is scan through. So I don't mind registering for this one, 55 minutes late, because it's only $11 and it's going to be really soft. I'm going to load up my poker tracker. It should sort of ring in your mind as soon as you're starting tables. Hey, poker tracker, where is it? Let's get it out. I'm going to run stack and tile. And I'm not going to upgrade poker tracker just yet. You want to be a bit careful with the updates, actually. Sometimes they're a bit buggy. I usually give them sort of a few weeks before I upgrade, just to be on the safe side, just in case there's bugs and then they get a new update or fix them or whatever. So we're going to get hands while playing on poker tracker, and I'm going to start stack and tile, so the tables will just start snapping in as we register. So this 22 super knockout, again, it's not ideal because it's 56 minutes late reg, but in this case where it's only a $22 buy-in and we have a significant edge over the field, and our short stacking game also is very good. Not that we're going to start that short. I mean, we're still going to have a decent M. In the case of the 22 super knockout, there's 2,300 in there and we have 3,000, so we already start like M, like what's that, 14 or something. I'm going to play this one. We came third in last session. Drinking this funky, you know what? I just realized I don't even know what this is. Just this, some sort of health drink that I saw in the convenience store when I was picking up some food. And for some reason I just felt like grabbing it. I think it's because it had this gold tag. It looked like it would make me very powerful, so I just grabbed it. What I really was trying to get was some vitamin D, because I think vitamin D is, I'm just going to 3-bet here. Am I? This guy's pretty tight. I have 73 hands on him. He's only raising first in 12%. Yeah, I think I'm going to fold that. And that's one of the benefits of the hard. I mean, we just load up the table, second hand, and all of a sudden we've got 73 hands on this guy, and it says he's nitty from early. When I say one of the advantages of the hard, it could be a disadvantage. I mean, I would probably normally 3-bet there, but maybe the hard is sample size is not good. Maybe he's actually a maniac, but he just happened to be tight that time because he was getting trashed or something. I guess I will c-bet here and take it down. And I'm going to keep loading up these tables. So we've got some good stuff going on here, actually. Let's add all of this stuff in. You can see as I'm clicking register, they're just snapping into the grid. Now, this is pretty good, this tournament, but I don't think I'm going to play it. Because you can see all my color markings there. Let me just move that for a minute, guys. You can see as you start loading out tables, things quickly get hectic. Like we're up to 7 already. I think Yeah, I mean, this is pretty close. You see, I actually mark my colors by skill level. And for me personally, I like that because for two reasons. And the first one is that we get a really quick identifier in the lobby of the standard. So you can see here, if there was a lot of dark blue and light blue and greens, I might refrain from playing a tournament like this. But you can see we don't really have that. We have some purples, yellow, and orange, I should say. And we have some of these dark purples, which is huge fish, and the purples is big fish. So it kind of allows me to get sort of a quick overview of the tournament and the sort of field that we'll be up against. And I think it's quite handy for that. Pocket kings can be quite handy as well. And pocket nines, I think I'm going to fold here. It's a very awkward spot, isn't it? If we call, we're not really getting a good price to set mine, and it could get re-raised, and it's just kind of a strong looking squeeze. I don't really want to call out of position with the, speculating. We're really just trying to hit. So you can see I raised pretty large with the kings, because it's an $8 tournament and we got two callers, not surprisingly. And it's not a great flop. I mean, it's okay, it's good, don't get me wrong. It's better than a lot of flops we could have had, but well, I mean, it's pretty good, yeah. So I'm just trying to work out. Let's just go 789. We don't want to give them too cheap a price. The problem is some of the time they might have nines here or even deuces, but they can have like 7-8 suited, Jack Queen, and I guess 9-10 and suited and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as flops go, it's pretty good. But it's just it's just slightly coordinated. But I mean, beggars can't be choosers. Well, that's probably not appropriate, but you know what I mean. Like, if it had been Queen 6-4, I mean, that would have been ideal, because anyone with a Queen, Ace Queen, Queen Jack, Queen 10, even Queen 9 suited, these guys might play. I mean, we're just gonna stack them, sort of thing, and they likely have very few out. Well, 5 outs most likely, or something like that. I guess we're gonna call there and just hope the big blind doesn't do anything rash. And I'm just going to check fold there, I think. So, just going back to what I was saying about the field. Is that the lobby? Yeah, so it's kind of close because it's a $100 buy-in, because it's a 33 1 rebuy, 1 add-on, right? So it's going to cost us $93, and I mean, our roll now is what is it, like 10k or something? But I'm just thinking that it's a close one. I mean, the value, there's definitely some value there. I mean, there's guys that don't even have notes on, which is always a good sign. They're likely recreational players, or they've just somehow flown under the radar for a long time, which sometimes happens. A player just suddenly pops up that's very good that I just happen to very rarely be on the same table as. We've got, there's not, when I say it's easy, I mean, it's not a complete donk field. I mean, you've got regs like Barks, Antichamber, this D Quang guy, who are some of my other yellows here that are decent, that I kind of know. Yeah, I think I will raise here, and I think call off. And he might jam pretty wide because it's a super knockout, but he does fold. But I don't think we can really speculate profitably there with the fives out of position. I think it would be probably a losing play. Who else is kind of good in here? Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, but I've got him green already. Grisso Possum, I mean, he's like a good spew monkey. Yeah, actually, you know what? I think we will play this, guys. Just looking at the field, it's pretty soft. How long has it been running for? Yeah, only 19 minutes. It's pretty soft. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro's in there, which is kind of interesting, a bit of a reassuring sign. Because I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro has very good tournament selection. He's a very self-aware player, and he's very focused, like we are right now, on building a bankroll and playing what's profitable. and not trying to be a hero and play, turbos and stuff like that, not caring about trying to get big scores so much as trying to make a living and get maximum bang for buck. And so if he thinks it's good value, then let's play it. So jumping in there, I mean it is, in terms of what we said, our conditions we laid out, here it is here, I'm just going to bring it in. My point about this whole thing is that in terms of the conditions that we laid out, I mean, yeah, we can play it, no problem. But, as I said, you still want to be careful. A lot of players make the mistake of getting some sort of big score and then, that's it. Okay, I'm playing 100 rebuyers, I'm playing 109 turbos. And you got to be very careful and just, caress your bankroll like tender breasts. It's very delicate. I'm just thinking if we should 3-bet bottom right here. 75. It's a 2 rebuy, 1 out on. You might want to make sure you take these right away too, because you might get a huge double up against some massive donkey early. No, I'm going to fold. Whoa, that's close. I think if I had already had my buy-ins, I would have 3-bet. If I had already had my add-ons, I would have 3-bet because we had much better depth of stack, much better implied odds if we hit something against this guy who's purple. But a little bit, not shallow, but I would prefer to get better odds. So I do have the 888 loaded up, and that's ready to fly as well. And I haven't loaded up full tilt now, but I really want to get some revenge on full tilt, because full tilt's been, it's just been owning me lately. It's really been. I had a massive stack yesterday, and then I had a double the nearest stack with like 16 players left, and then just ran into hand after hand and busted 10th in the 10k guaranteed $26. It was 2.5k for first, so it was kind of annoying. What are we going to do up here? This is a really tough spot. Can't really call with these odds. We don't really know much about him, but he's 3x from early. I think I'm going to wait, but I am going to attack this guy here because we can see he raises 41% of buttons and he does fold to 3-bets at a pretty high frequency, and we get pretty good leverage from our stack. Although he could, if he's feeling a bit of a cheeky fellow, he could pop it up here like this guy's done to 1,000, and that's pretty sexy. But I don't think this guy's done it to be sexy. I think he's done it because he's got a hand, and so I'm not going to bet with the 2s. Probably not. It's a pretty bad board with 3-way bottom left. Yeah, this is a lovely raise. He's kind of been tight. He hasn't squeezed in 39 possibilities. Raise first in pretty tight, 3-bet 4%. I think we've just run into queens here, and I'm going to fold. But I'm going to think for a minute, just for show, just for the theatre. What the? Okay. Okay, so what else have we got here? Let's see. Yeah, 11 turbo register. You notice I've got single click register on, so I don't have to click OK all the time. You can do that in the PokerStars settings. So you can literally kind of just fly through and go bang, 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 bang. 100 rebuy. Love to play it. I hope we can play that soon. I want to build the roll a little bit more first before we start playing 100 rebuy. It's actually one of my best tournaments is the 100 rebuy. I feel it's one of the tournaments I do very well in, but we don't want to overextend too early. And big 22. Add that sucker in. Kind of a tough spot, bottom middle, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's a big bet. he does sort of c-bet, and well, I mean, he only bets turn 50%, I guess, but follow through with a double barrel. Our hand's pretty moderate. We do have obviously a draw to the nuts, but I think I'm going to let it go. It's a pretty bad board for him to just be blazing away on. It's a pretty good scare card, I guess, but we can have King 10, King Jack, even King Queen and stuff like that, I guess. So yeah, 9-10 as well, you know. So it's not that bad for our perceived range, but I don't know much about this guy. But I just as a default, I think I'm gonna you know what? You know what? I'm going to make a tight fold here. Oh, this is a pretty tight fold. And I'm going to make a raise up here. The reason why I folded that, I would normally 3-bet that, I think. But just want to be a little bit careful, you know, out of position. We've got a hand that's a little bit hard to get value with, you know, because if we flop the ace, well, I tell a lie. I mean, we can get value with it. He might have King Jack, Jack Queen, Ace 10 and stuff, but I just had a bad feeling, actually, to be honest. I mean, this guy's been kind of, I mean, that's what I was going to say is, we don't know anything about this guy, so I may have missed a bit of value there too, by the way, but I think it was okay. We don't know anything about this guy, so I might be being a bit too focused on statistics or the HUD, but I prefer to kind of wait, so just see what he's doing, rather than just sort of play blind. I mean, we wait another few orbits, and we might know that this guy's, you know, only raised one hand in like 30, and he's an absolute nit. But more than that too, we're kind of deep, so he's going to call a lot, and we're out of position. Our hand is mediocre. Ace Jack off, really, for the situation. You can call with it as well. I think calling is okay. But I just decided to make a very nitty fold there. Weekly no limit Omaha high-low satellite. I'm just looking in the lobby now, guys, again. And that'll get us through to this. Yeah, we do want to play that. Well, that's in 2 days, though. But we do want to play it. I'm just thinking about playing a few satellites because they're good value. Is this the one we want to play? Starts in 2 minutes. It looks like it might not get up, but I'm going to register and give it a go. Tournament info. Where is it? Band structure. I'm just looking where it says, okay, yeah, it requires 3 players to run. Yeah, okay. You know, the best thing to do right now is this a seat guaranteed? Oh, it's not a seat guaranteed, I don't think, is it? Yeah, it's not. If it's a seat guaranteed, not that anyone would ever do it, but if there's only 3 of you sitting at the table, you know, you can just all move all in first hand for $11 and not rebuy, and whoever wins, you know, gets a 215 seat, but it only costs them $11. That's the best way to max your EV in this tournament. But you could never trust your opponents to do it, you know. They'd rebuy for sure. They'd say, yeah, let's do it. Let's all just spend $11 and have a chance at a 215 seat. That's the best for ROI. But then once it says, do you want to rebuy? You've busted. They're like, oh, I'll rebuy. But I have actually heard of that happening before. So I do presume I haven't actually done it myself. I have suggested it before, but of course no one went for it. But I have heard of it being done. So I presume the system doesn't, you know, do anything to prevent it. As long as they have the minimum players in and there's a guaranteed seat, that's it. The tournament's over when there's only 1 player left. 22 action hour, probably going to avoid that. That's another tournament I do reasonably well in, but it does have pretty high variance. I'm pretty interested in this one here, because it's not a turbo either, is it? Yeah, I'm kind of taking things a bit slowly today, guys. Normally I just sort of go bang, 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 register. But I'm just kind of just taking things a bit slow today. I don't want to play too many tournaments for just because I was saying before, stomach's a bit queasy, and I just want to not have too much of a hardcore session, to be honest. I played yesterday. I had a lot of tables going. I had about 18 the entire session, and I wouldn't say I'm worn out, but just sort of feeling like a little bit more of a less of a stressful session, if we can. So I think I will register for this Sunday mills here. Yeah. I mean, normally the fields are crazy soft in this. In fact, if just the fields in general, I mean, anywhere in Asia and Australia, the fields are pretty soft. The Aussie Millions is the 10k buy-in is crazy soft. I haven't been able to get over there the last few years, but I've played it a couple of times before, and it's just silly. It's just silly. What else have we got here? 11. Yeah, I mean, this is probably fine. Yeah. 33 rebuy. Yeah, well, actually, let me check this one. We only have 7 players registered. They're all decent. Not decent, but you know what I mean. The satellite to the 215. It's a turbo. Let's leave that one. Yes. 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 Hey, that's probably don't want to play that just because we're going to have too many tables by that stage if we start adding in everything. So I'm probably going to leave that. 75 turbo, no. This one, yeah, that's probably okay. This is probably good. Big 55, of course. This one, I just feel we might have a lot going, so I'm going to wait for now and see how we're going at that stage. If we busted a lot of stuff, then we'll take it from there. Add more stuff in. As for 888, where are we? Just don't really like this lobby much. I think I might join this. It's been running 31 minutes, but it's a $25, 2.5 gay guaranteed. I'm going to jump in that. And it just snaps in, of course, because I'm running snap and tile, stack and tile. It's off to the side. I might just bring it in, pop it here. Bit of a bug there, it looks like, actually. Can't see the names. Names haven't come up yet. I really dislike this lobby. It's just kind of hard to see, especially after using PokerStars. What have we got here? Problem with the satellites in 888 poker is they actually they don't let you unregister. So you must play the target event, which is kind of annoying because sometimes you don't want to. What else have we got around here? Yeah, the monsoon. Yeah, I guess we're going to play that, aren't we? I kind of like that tournament. I guess we're just, well, kind of deep, so I think just going to call here and turn the second nuts. It's probably fine. He's bet again. I think with this depth of stack and the fact that he could be a monkey, we don't know yet. I don't have any notes, so that's a positive sign. I'm going to go ahead and raise here. You know, once in a while he could have the nuts, but he could have a lot of hands like sets 6-7, Jack 9, 7-9. He could have 8-10, and he could just have a big club that wants to give us value too. So I'm going to raise, not ridiculous, but pretty big to try and get some value here. And I think just calling would be playing a little bit overcautiously, even though he could have donked out with a nut draw, because some players would do that. And there's certainly nothing wrong with doing it. And he did just fold, so... yeah, I mean, if he's bluffing, then we want to just call again, obviously, but I just think with this depth of stack against an unknown player who could be a donkey, 21, it's a little bit risky to just... just call. Risky in terms of not getting value. I mean, he could be one of these guys that just is going to never fold top pair. There's plenty of them, especially at this buy-in level. 33's down. Well, it's a 33. One rebuy, one add-on. But top left, this guy's been a spew monkey, and I would probably normally fold. But this raise itself just kind of looks a bit. It just kind of looks a bit fishy anyway, and it was. It didn't look right to me, and I guess I'm kind of talking about the force a little bit, using the force, an old Jedi mind trick. But in reality, I mean, yeah, I mean it's hard to describe. I mean, some of you guys probably know what I'm talking about here when I say it just didn't look right. I mean, it was just a kind of a massive jam. And when you put that together with the stats of the guy, that he's been really loose and aggressive, like, it just looked like exactly, you know, that sort of hand, ace-x maybe suited, or like a small pair, or like a king-jack suited, complete sort of spaz. Let's just, you know, jam all in, bust, and then go to a party kind of thing. You know, which is good for us, and probably good for him if it's a good party too, but for us, it's about getting chips right now. Once we get to 40k, we'll have a party, and until then, we shall grind, and then grind some more. Just trying to look at this full tilt lobby. It's kind of hard registering, you know. If you're not organised at the start of the day, and you know, jumping in all the tournaments pre-registered, you know, and you're doing what I'm doing now, which kind of in reality is, you know, I like to be organised, but at the same time, I mean, it is a little bit hard to have all your sort of tournaments, or maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe it's something I should be more organised with, is having all my tournaments so I'm not registering while I'm playing. I don't know if it's just me. I presume everyone does that, but maybe they don't. Maybe I'm just a registration fish. It's quite possible. Yeah, so I am going to register in this 26 here, 10k. Looks pretty good, and I said we were going to have a pretty relaxing session, but we do actually already have 13 tables going. I'm just thinking if we should bet here. It's pretty close because we do have the over backdoor flush gutser, but the board is fairly coordinated. So I'm a little bit concerned about the board texture, that we're going to get met with some resistance. But that would have been one of our barrel cards. Yeah, I think it's pretty close. I mean, if it was heads up, I would definitely fire, but I think three-way, you know, maybe we can still fire and barrel it off. But I think any high cards and clubs and that sort of thing on the turn is a barrel. And obviously we can hit our gut shot some of the time. I'm not going to stab now. I think it would be pretty futile. Though the board is very draw heavy, so we could actually be up against some draws, but this guy has bet again into 2, so I'm gonna make the fold here. This is a pretty sick spot because I don't think this guy is going to get that out of line down the bottom middle. Obviously a very good flop. He's going to have, I think, queens and jacks a lot here. He may have the same hand. It's pretty unlucky if we run into aces or kings, obviously. I definitely just want to check, and if he's on the light side, which is not impossible either, we definitely want to suck out a c-bet. I think we can definitely tank call here. It's probably pretty easy for him to put us easier for him to put us on a hand like nines and stuff rather than ace king. So I think we could get, especially on that sort of card, this is the sort of card I think he could barrel on a lot. But if he's got a hand like queens, he was just going to check, obviously, and take his showdown. But that's fine because he's only got 2 outs. So interesting that he's bet that size. He might actually be setting this up for a triple barrel. So I am just going to tank call. It's slightly concerning that he actually does happen to have one of the last remaining combos of aces or kings. But it's probably more likely if he has a strong made hand that he actually has the same hand than us. Because that has more combos. By now he probably realizes that we don't just have like nines and that, but he still might think, okay, I can fold him off if he's got like king queen or king jack or something. So we're not folding, obviously. I'm just trying to think how many combos of ace king would be left. Do some mental arithmetic. So there'd be 4 combos left of ace king, right? Because there's 2 aces and 2 kings left, so there'd be 4 combos. And 1 combo of aces and 1 combo of kings. And he has 1 combo of kings. So that's that. And that is the end of that tournament. I don't think we can really contemplate a fold there. The turn bet did look like he was getting set up for a river shove. Possibilities are that that means he has the nuts like he did, or that he's just getting set up to barrel it off. Once we call on the ace turn, I guess he has to consider the fact that we will have ace king a lot of the time. Because at that stack depth pre-flop, we don't really want to 4-bet it. I think we can just call. We probably could if... they're not that bad to 4-bet, but... we're narrowing his range pretty far to the point where he's not calling with anything really that we're in good shape against if we do re-raise pre-flop, which is why calling is better, because even though his range does kind of appear to be a little bit nutty, well, not nutty, but decent, pre-flop when he re-raises as a 4-bet, it still has it still has some hands, I think, that he might do that with, that we're doing okay against. But it did look strong just because of the initial opener and the stack depth that they had. I think it did kind of make it look like the raise was likely on the strong side. And what are we going to bring in here? Something good? What's the best one to bring in? Let's bring in just this one. So 1350. Yeah, well, that's pretty close. Seeing a lot of look at this massive overjam here in the full tilt. Wow, and gets called by nines. It's pretty sick. It's sort of stuff where, the weekend is upon us. There's going to be a lot of wild stuff. Skimming through full tilt still, seeing what else there is. I'm just going to focus mostly on I think I will bet here, 209. Queens is a decent spot, obviously. Top left is a pretty tough one. That's annoying. I think I might fold. think we do still have the best hand a decent percentage, but we could be crushed, and if we do have the best hand, there's lots of bad river cards, any more overs and hearts and stuff, and if he barrels we can't really call. So I think I'm going to kind of fold there. Looks like 888 poker just disconnected, which is kind of weird. It's normally pretty reliable. Might be something to do with a bug where the names weren't showing up before. But in any case, it's back. Yeah, that was pretty hard hand, the 4-5. I think that's a line that players will take on a bluff a lot. They'll just try to rep on the turn, and they might have called with ace high, or he might have had gut shots and stuff like that, and just thought we were stealing, so check called, kind of on the light side. That's not good. That is good. Small c-bet. Need some more of this power drink. Let me fix that sound up. It's beeping like a crazy mofo. That's better. Wow, pretty tough spot here. 3-bet's a reasonable range on the button without being a maniac. I feel like he's 3-bet me a bit, this guy. I don't know why. It's just sort of, I feel like a bit of recognition just with his sort of his name, his image and his name. He probably knows I open a lot. We do have 3K hand history, so he knows I'm pretty loose. I think I'm going to call here and kind of assess post flop. It's a little bit risky. We could be stacking off in pretty bad spots sometimes, but we're not so deep that it's that bad kind of thing. I mean, it's kind of debatable getting it in pre-flop is on the loose side, I think. But we are we're not, you know, crazy deep. We're getting it in is horrible pre-flop against a fairly, I mean, reasonably aggressive sort of player. I think in this instance now, where there's already so much in there, and we have hopefully a lot of outs. I mean, if he's got like queens with a spade, we're in really bad shape. But I'm actually a little bit surprised he would see bet that with that sort of hand. This could be a bit of a spew if he's got a, you know, overpair with the spade, but I think a lot of the time he's going to have a hand like he has, and unfortunately gets there. So I think, you know, if he's got like kings without a spade, it's a flip, and if he's got the hand he has, 9, 10 of 12, 9, 10 of 12, 10 of 15, actually 8. Yeah, it's a flip as well. So given the pot odds that were already in there, if we do get into a situation where it's a flip, I mean, it's not a bad thing because the pot odds are already pretty huge. So we can't fold in that instance, but it's sort of just playing with variance a little bit, isn't it? Which is kind of part of the reason why calling with the 9s out of position pre-flop is a little bit questionable. But we did decide to go down that variance road. I mean, he did have a decent hand, so I think I'm going to raise here, 1721. I think he might think that this looks super fishy, raising on a deuce and spaz out, but he might also have a strong hand because he did raise our c-bet. He could be bluffing, and by not check calling, we may miss a bet on the river. But I just think that it's better to go for max value because he's not going to fold an overpair. We could check. I guess maybe if he's got clubs, he might bluff, but he did have fours, so I mean, it was just a given, and that was one hand that it looked like he might have. So, I mean, yeah, nothing he can really do there. Though we do kind of look like we have tens or quads when we make that play, but pretty hard to fold. Yeah, so the nines hand, it was kind of messy. We kind of put ourselves in a tough spot by calling with a hand that doesn't flop well out of position against a decent player. And I did so probably a little bit too willingly, but I was kind of looking for a way to get chips. We weren't uber deep, but we were deep enough that we probably didn't need to put ourselves in that situation this early. So I do actually probably regret, easy to say now, I do actually kind of regret that one. Hey, if we had have doubled up in that spot, I probably would have not regretted it. So it's pretty results orientated, but yeah, I do think that it was a little bit risky. But you know, if we're folding nines in that spot to a 3-bet and we're opening UTG, I mean, the thing about it is we're folding nines. I mean, we're folding a lot of hands we're opening. We're only calling, what are we only calling with tens up and ace king there? Maybe ace queen suited? You know, like that's just crazy exploitable if we're only opening with if we're opening with our normal, 6 max UTG range, but folding to a button 3-bet with nines, it's like he can just 3-bet us at will and we're just always folding. So with that sort of thing in mind as well, I didn't want to kind of be, too much of a marshmallow and just sort of let this button player just, push us around a bit. And so I did decide to make, the, I wouldn't say loose, but questionable sort of call. And then that sort of got compounded post-flop, didn't it? Where we just got that sort of we just got a flop that I just don't think we can do anything else with but check jam. We don't really want to check call. I mean, we could, but I just think that we're going to put ourselves in unnecessarily difficult situations. Could actually almost check these queens here, and completely distort our range. If we check there, I think he caps our range, like ace king, ace queen, or the odd bluff that's given up, or top set. So there is that factor as well. But yeah, it's just a little bit risky because the pot's already so juicy, and I don't really want to give any free cards away. But it's definitely something to consider. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess the nines hand, I guess check calling's not too bad because if a spade comes, we're going to call down anyway, and if we hit a straight, we're going to call down anyway, and the problem is if the turn bricks and we check and then he shoves or whatever, we could be folding the best hand if we're not continuing. If the river, I guess if the turn was a dry card and we check and he shoves, we can probably call. It's kind of yeah. I mean, it was a really interesting spot. It was a really tough spot. I should have played that hand. Wow. Handbraken is very aggressive, and we have just donked into him and he's raised. How are we going to play this hand? This could be a bit of a crazy stack off here. I got a bit distracted thinking about the nines hand. 7, 8, donked into him. I don't think we're going to fold. We have top pair and a gut shot, so he has just literally insta-snapped our raise. I think that he might actually do that with like ace queen of diamonds and stuff, ace five of diamonds some of the time, stuff like that. I don't think we're folding now, but it's pretty sick. Yeah, it looked like he had diamonds. And we managed to hold, so that's good. I think the reason why I say that is because if he has the nuts, why would he snap insta-click? You know, he's trying to look as strong as possible. He's trying to look like he's just got the nuts and, you know, hey buddy, I'm just re-clicking, let's do this, you know, my hand is just crazy strong. But why would he, a thinking player, be doing that? Because he's semi-bluffing and he wants to get fold equity, is the logical answer. And so that's what it looked like he was doing. And we were just fortunate enough that we managed to hold up. I think I bust that guy a lot, actually. Probably his nemesis. He's a bit of a spew monkey, but he does play okay. Yeah, spew monkeys can still do well in tournaments. Because they're aggressive. They can be aggressive and take some risks, and sometimes when it pays off, they get a lot of chips and they win. Yep. Okay, guys, I might just leave it there for now. How long we got until the break? Quite a while. Been recording almost 50 minutes. So what I'll do from now is just try and zone. Excuse me, just try and zone in, and try and win something. And I'll probably register for a couple more tournaments. I said I was going to take this as a pretty relaxing session, but somehow I'm got what are we up to? 6 and we got 13 tables, 13 on the go, and I think I'm going to fold this one. 13 on the go and already carnage. I'll probably register for a couple more. Yeah, this one I think. Keep chipping away at these 26s. Play a few of them. And try and get some chips in the satellite bottom left, so we can play that in on Sunday, the 2:15 buy-in. High-low, very good tournament. And register for a few more 888s as well. And probably leave PokerStars like we said for the time being now, and see how we're going once we get to sort of 3 or 4 a.m. And you know, if I've donked off in a lot of tourneys or been cooling or whatever, then we can load up some more if I'm still feeling fresh. So I'm going to sign out now, guys, and I'll be back with more action later. Just going to leave this, just finish off on this hand here. That is the turn card was magnificent, because it meant that the low wasn't coming. And on that note, let's do it. See you soon.